Which powder should you use for reloading? Whatever you're comfortable with. Alliant, Ogden, Tight Group. They all make a pretty decent powder. Okay. There's some Ogden. Got about half a pound of it left. I used to use it basically for my own personal defense loads. Then I read an article where a guy had done so and modified a round so hot that it actually got him slated for manslaughter. They didn't hang full murder on him, but they did hang manslaughter. Okay, that's how crazy some of the DAs can get if they go through and look at everything and ballistics and all of that. It's crazy. So now I don't hop up my own personal defense rounds. I use a specific either gold dot or a hollow point, something in the way of a hollow point, factory loaded. I don't screw with it. No. But which powders do I use for reloading? I do a lot of target rounds and stuff like that. And for my own personal use, you can't go wrong. I mean, what the heck? It's Expansion Industries. They're out of Virginia. It's an American company. I got 8 pounds, both of them, delivered for like $168, something like that. Now that was a few years ago. Okay, it has gone up somewhat, but it's still cheaper than 8 pounds of Ogden. 8 pounds of Ogden's coming in at like 210, 240, depending on where you are. In some places I've seen higher than that. I paid $39 and some change, and that don't even include the tax that was on it. So $40 a pound. 4 times 8 is 32. Of course, they're going to give you a little discount for buying in bulk. But, if you don't buy bulk, and what does that reload? And quickly, this is the reload data on it. It starts with 38 caliber up here and actually ends with 12 gauge down here. You can do anything in between in the way of a pistol to 12 gauge. You can't complain. I mean, it is as good as the Ogden. Okay. It may come down a couple of feet lower in velocity than the Ogden, but it's so marginal that it's really not going to make a difference for target shooting. Okay. Now, if you're a competitor and you're competitively shooting, go with the Ogden, the Alliant, the whatever it is that it really cooks it, because of course time and speed are everything in competition. But if you're a run-of-the-mill, just happy-go-lucky reloader, you could do a lot worse. Okay, this stuff is great. I can't say enough good things about it. It's reloaded. Everything from 380. I've had 9mm, 40, 45. It even does the 44 and the 44 special. It's a flake powder. It meters well. Takes a while. It's a little bit bigger than the Ogden in the way of the flake, but once you get that meter going, and I use 2 meters. Okay, I know everybody's favorite is the Lee. That's one I use. That's my primary use. Sometimes I'll take a wild hair, and I've got Not that I'm trying to be difficult, but I've got an old Bonanza meter, and it through there quite well. Okay. Do I like it better than I do the Lee? No. As for the way this thing rigs up and hooks up, I prefer the Lee. It's an easier system to work with, but there's nothing wrong with this Bonanza. It's a nice rig. It meters well. It's handled just about every powder I've thrown in it. Where I run into my issues with is like that stick powder for rifles, but right now all I'm reloading is pistols for target, for going out just blasting off ammo. Like I said, I got 8 pounds of this stuff, a pound at a Ogden. I'm going to say expansion's the way to go. It's more versatile than a Ogden. It covers a lot more than a Ogden. They even make a rifle powder that does almost virtually the same thing for modern loads. It covers just about everything that's out there. Expansion Industries, Virginia. Go online and look them up. It's great stuff. I mean, relatively inexpensive as compared to some of the other stuff. If you're a new reloader, this is a major part of your investment. A pound at a time, hey, great, okay. But if I can get 8 pounds of this for what it cost me in these, I'm going to save up, okay, and get the 8 pounds for, I got it delivered, like it was like $168 and some change, okay, but that was, like I said, when they first started up, I popped an ad, it was on Facebook or something like that, and I got a real good deal on it. Ogden, sometimes they run sales and stuff like that, but it's nowhere near the savings you can get for the expansion, and it doesn't cover near the amount that the expansion does. Okay, we're talking 380 full metal jackets and hollow points, 9mm, 90 grain to 124 grain full metal jacket and hollow points, 38 specials from 125 grain to 158 grain full metal jacket and hollow points, 357 mag, 110 grain to 146 grain jacketed hollow point, lead, round nose, it's there. 40 S&W, another one of my favorite loads, by the way, from 140 grain to 180 grain full metal jackets, competition, and jacketed hollow points. 45 ACP, 180 grain to 230 grain. Lead, full metal jacket, lead round nose, a jacketed round nose. It's there. 44 mag, jacketed hollow points, lead, 180 grain to 225 grain. Now your shotgun, your 12 gauge, you are kind of limited there, but it does 2 3/4 inches at 1 1/8 shot. You know, 2 3/4. Yeah, okay, I can dummy down a little bit instead of going with a 3-inch shot. You know, as I said, it's target. You're not running, gunning, you're not trying to win competitions with it, although you probably could. I'm not going to suggest it or deny it. It is a great powder. for the money. Okay, especially if you're new and just getting started, I will recommend the Expansion Industries ETR7 for target. Just, the new guy getting started. Ogden, due to its cut and its reloading data, I find it to be more of an experienced competition shooter's powder. Okay, whereas the guy basic starting, just slinging a lead down range, having fun, I'd go with the ETR7. You're gonna save so much more. Like 4 pounds of this stuff is gonna be like $70 now. 4 pounds. Just probably to powder the rest of my life. Okay, eight and a half pounds. I've already used a little bit of each. The Ogden is, like I said, is about half. I've probably got about a pound and a half out of that back expansion. But it does well. Some people ask on primers. Okay, primers are a big deal. People go in and they see the primers. There are Magnum primers, there are regular primers, which to use while reloading. Again, I'm going to label that one to your own decision. Okay, I use solely Magnum primers wherever I can. You're talking about a spark that is going to start the internal combustion. Okay, on a regular primer, it's supposed to be a little bit cooler than on a Magnum primer, which ignites fast and hot. Okay, the regular primer is supposed to be like a slow burn. I use the Magnums. I've never had an issue. People say you can't use 9mm. Perfect example. I reload with all small Magnum primers. I want that powder to ignite. I want that round to push on out of there. Okay. I say a slow burn is better, but if you get that hotter burn, more of your powder is going to be burnt and it's not going to be wasted. That's not only my opinion, but it's also some fact. A slower burn, as I found out, left powder all over a shooting table that I was at one day. Most of the powder went unburnt. I pay for mine. Okay, I take it out of my pocket and I get it when I can. I can't always get it because the money is so tight. So when I do, I'm going to pay the same amount I am for a regular primer as I am for a Magnum primer. Let me get that Magnum primers. Let me get my powder ignited. Let me save me a little bit of money. Not only that, but if you do ignite a little bit more powder, that round is traveling at a little bit higher speed. And so, instead of 972 feet per second, you may run at 1,000 feet per second or 998 feet per second. However, but yeah, Magnum primers for everything. That's me. That's my personal take. People can tell you of the issues that each one causes. Supposedly it eats your chamber. It don't eat your chamber. Beginning the bullet moving that fast. Da 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 da. I'm target shooting. Okay, as I said, my personal defense ammunition is all factory loaded. I'm out there popping targets. Case in point, nice little ground target to pop at. That's all I do with it. Just shoot it with 9mm, 40, 45, whatever I got. Uh, just, you know, I've got one of my pride and joys right here. Okay, out to 100 yards, 9mm, high point, all day long on that thing. It was almost boring regularity. Um, have I had any issues with my barrels and my chambers with using the Magnum primers? No. It's just the Magnum primer burns a little hotter. To each his own when you get started, but you're going to pay the same amount for both. You're reloading 357 mag and 38 special. Why spend two different amounts of money on two different primers when you can just use the Magnum primers from 357 in your 38s as well? My daddy said, let it go. You're holding on to times of old. Okay? Try something new. Try something different if you're a moderate reloader and you've been out there for a while and you've just been reloading, you know, regular primers for 9mm and your Magnum primers for your Magnum loads and blah, 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 blah. Try it. Give it a shot. What can it hurt? It burns, it's quick, it's over, it's done. The same thing out of Magnum primer is the same thing you're going to get out of a regular primer. Only, I have noticed that with my Magnum primers, I have less failure to ignite than I do out of the regular primers. Let's see. Out of 1,000 regular primers, where is that? Get that picked up in a minute. Out of 1,000 regular primers, I've had 8 failures. Okay, out of 1,000 Magnum primers, I've only had 2. You know, am I saving money there? I believe so, all the way around on that one. As I said, I'm cheap. I try to do things. It may not be, well, everybody says you can't use a Magnum primer and a 9mm, blah, 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 blah. I do. I have. I've used it in that other 9mm that I've got. I ain't got it with me. I've used them in this 38 Rossi. I have used them in 9mm Tauruses. I have used them in 9mm Brownings. You know, can you use them? Yes. Should you use them? To each their own. I just showed you my reload data, okay? Unspent and spent primers. And what I'm losing in money-wise. Granted, you know, you're buying them by the 1,000 or by the 5,000. And you're only losing a couple of pennies. Okay? That's what everybody is saying. Okay? That's more pennies than what I got to lose. You know, I'm choosing, you know, if the gun blows up in my hand because I'm using Magnum primers and a 9mm, so be it. Okay? I will take full-on head-on responsibility for my actions. Okay? I can't, and then cry over it when it does happen. No. You can't do that either. I choose, therefore I am responsible. I would rather have a good hot target round that punches through that aluminum, that punches through my target and leaves a good sized hole to be seen at any given day. Regular primers, magnum primers, hot powder, low powder. Okay, my reload data. Go back to it for a moment. Right here. Okay. How much powder should you use? I used a low load. Okay. Let me pick one that I reload here. Let me do 38 special. What the hell? I guess what I got on my hip. I'm running 158 grain bullets in it. Hollow point. Now granted, these are just my target loads. Okay, they're not factory reloads. If anything went on around here, I would probably be screwed if the courts decided to. 158 grain, they're calling for 3 grains. Okay, 3.4 grains would be the high on the what was up here, Expansion Industries ETR7. Okay, I take that low means, okay, that 3.0, multiply that by 10%, okay, and come up with a recipe I can use. Let me do the math real quick. I always use a calculator. I never use my head. I could, it's 3.3 grains. I've even got it written down. But, the reason I always used a calculator is to make sure it is always precise. 3.0 times 0.003. 3.3 grains. Okay, that's my 10%. So that would be 3.3 grains total in that 357.38. Okay, that's my choice. A lot of people don't do it that way. A lot of people do it another way, but I find the low end times 10%, the low times 10% is a great awesome load. It'll send it out cooking, it'll send it out cleaning, it don't matter where it sends it, it'll just send it. Okay? I'll load that up back in there. Ow, set it in the room. I'm going to call this one a wrapped point at, kind of what I use to reload, what kind of powder, what kind of primers, you're going to hear a lot of people trash talk different kind of primers, different kind of powders. In the end run, where everybody is reloading 9mm now for $8 to 10 cents a round, I'm coming in at about 6 cents. Okay, counting the primer, my brass is free. I find that out there at the range all day long. And my shot, I go to bullets.com. I order the bulk seconds. They call it factory seconds. I'm just putting holes in paper, shooting little orange things, shooting BHO that you've seen in a couple of the other videos. BHO, please do not mistake that for Barack Hussein Obama. It has no connection. And I'm an honest engine. Okay. Okay, there might be a little, but not a whole lot. But anyway. Reloading. Back to reloading. Some people use this stuff. It's a bootleg. It's lanolin and alcohol. Heat in a red bottle, which is like 97 or 99% alcohol, and 2 ounces of lanolin. Okay. Again, I took $27, $28, whatever it was at that time, and I went out and I purchased me a big ass tub. Well, the price is there. Oh, I'm sorry, $20.96. Bought my ass a big ass tub of this lanolin. I've made 2 batches of that. That's my second batch there. I have probably given away 6 ounces out of a 14 ounce, and I've still got that and a good chunk of that left. If all that fails and that don't turn you on, that $20 worth of bullet lube that I'll have for the rest of my life, all I got to do is buy the heat. A lot of people use the resizing lubricant. Okay? If you do, I noticed that it's also 2 ounces. If you mix it to 2 bottles of heat, okay, and put it in one of these bottles, dollar store buck, okay, you're saving money. You're stretching this out as far as it goes instead of using it straight. You just spritz this over, let it sit a couple of minutes till the alcohol dries, roll the shells over, and spray another one. Let it dry, then you can start running it through your resizer. I use carbide dyes. Okay, I do. Every dye up here is a carbide dye. Okay, for sizing. I still lubricate. I've heard and seen the horror stories of stuck casing. Even just a little spritz of that stuff on a 45 ACP, slick as butter, goes in there, it pops out. Now granted, it gets all over your hands, the lanolin, but it's actually good for you too. So you smear a little on your face. You don't have to do all that crap. But here, yep. Small Magnum pistol primers. Magnum. That's what I use. Large Magnum pistol primers would say large Magnum if I had large primers. I'm running low on some stuff. I gotta reamp, reload, recharge if you would. People are gonna say yes or no, or you're crazy. Absolute lifesaver to the home reloader. It's a Franklin Arsenal reloading, what do they call these things? Reload tray. Okay. I have 2. Why? You're reloading, alright? You've got your powder set up. Your powder over there. Your powder on me will be over here. But anyway, you got my powder set up and got all my brass in here, right? I'm just boom, 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 boom. Put my powder in, right? Okay? Powder's in. Okay? I can look into the tray and see, okay, every round is essentially the same. Same height on powder. Okay, it's metered out pretty good. Okay? But where I separate and go to this one, because after I've done a row, I'll move that row over. It keeps it separated so I don't double charge. I don't squib load thinking I've already reloaded when I haven't. I got into this, when I first got into this, the guy I was learning from told me these were not essential. You didn't have to use these. You can use, I don't know if I got one ready or out, the boxes, okay, they got the little round containers in them. You can use those. They're a pain in the ass. That makes it so much easier. MTM, Franklin Arsenal, you can make your own out of wood. I made the attempt on that using the box shell holder as my template. It went badly. So I bought a set of those, about $20. And calipers you're going to need for your OAL. Okay, everybody says calipers for your OAL. Yes, get calipers for your OAL as you're starting out. I use a live round. I set up my dies, I put the live round in there, and I run it up till it gets tight in that system. Then I take the live round out, seat my first round, compare the two together. Okay, you can be off like it's not a lot. It's like 100,000ths of an inch or something like that. It's not, 0.000001 type deal. You can be off in that. To each their own. I prime right on my press. A lot of people don't. They say priming on the press sucks, but as you see where I do mine in batches, when I go to bell and prime that brass I've already got cleaned up, and I'll bell it and prime it at the same time. There's no powder out, so why not? It knocks out an extra step. I got to give a shout out on that one. Iraqi Veteran 888. I recommend you guys go see him. I'm sorry this has been a long-winded video, but there's so much to really cover for reloading. Hazards, mishaps, I could go on for days, but like I said, you're new to reloading, everybody's going to try to give you a bunch of ideas. Like me in the sand, using the sand in my tumbler, it's frowned upon, but as you see, it works. And I mean, if you're just starting out and you need a quick boost, I know a lot of people use these huge tumblers or these wet tumblers and sonic tumblers. That's all well and good if you're doing 800-900 rounds a week. I'm not. Okay, I'm probably at 12,000 or 1,200 to 1,300 rounds a year as a reloader. I don't reload commercially for anybody else. It's all for me. So if anything screws up, it's on my end, and it's my own hand getting blown off. But as you get into reloading, a bunch of friends will ask you to reload for them. You may, but I gotta warn you the flip side to that, brother. If you're reloading for the next man and something screws up with his gun, he's gonna come looking for you. His attorneys are gonna come looking for you. His wife and family are gonna come looking for you. That's not for me. I reload for my own use. Okay? That's why I don't mind chinsing out and using sand. It's cheap, it's effective, it works. Why I use the Magnum primers. I like them. experience all this stuff as you move along in your own reloading endeavors. Okay? But you can only do yourself one injustice, taking somebody else's word for it. Experiment like I have. Okay? Um, I really was. I had the money put aside for this big sonic cleaner and all this tumbler media and this special chemical for the media, make your brass all shiny. Then the brakes went out in my truck. I needed brakes. Okay, so now I'm put off because the money I had saved for the tumbler, I had to put in brakes. So I did some searching online to find some people that actually use playground sand, Repti sand. You know, it has to be a sanitized sand. For don't go out in your yard and get a shovel of sand and use it. It's not exactly the same. That Repti sand is all sanitary. Okay, it has to for the live animals. Of course, once the animal shits in it, pardon the French, it's not sanitary, but he hasn't. Okay, I have no animal in here that I use Repti sand on. So I just used Repti sand, clean the brass, which you've seen did an awesome job in an earlier video. I don't know. You choose, therefore you're responsible. Okay? However you wish to do this, budgeting it out. That's why it took me almost 4 years to get it rolling, because I could buy one piece at a time. And then things started happening, which is life. But, you know, Iraqi veteran, guys there at Moss Pond, another shout out, Destiny, Faded Destiny, actually, Yankee Marshall. As much as I can agree and disagree with Yankee Marshall, it's one guy that just, I don't know. Sometimes he makes absolute sense, and sometimes I think he's way out here in the left field, but we all have our own personal preferences. Man, it's tough. Such, Such Double O. He's a guy you really need to check out also, along with Yankee Marshall, Iraqi veteran. Even Faded Destiny. I know she hasn't cut a video in a while, but she's one to check out. To break up the monotony, there's a buddy of hers, Kim Whitty, from Whitty Industries. It's an art thing. Sometimes I tune into her when I get tired of all the guns. Faded Destiny's got a sister that plays the piano. I sometimes check her out, when I get tired of all the guns, or there's no new posting of videos for guns. I carry one, Big Daddy Hoffman. Biggest shout out, Jay Dalton. If you see nobody on YouTube working with guns, check out Jay Dalton. What the man has shown me in the High Point world and in the Jennings world, I don't think I would have ever found out on my own. Check that man out, Jay Dalton. Excellent. I know I've run into some stuff on YouTube about him and Facebook about him, but the brother's dead on, man. He really is. When it comes to working with the guns, again, we all have our own personal opinions. That makes us human. Doesn't make anybody an asshole. Pardon the language. It's starting to turn into a James Yeager kind of video, and I'm trying to steer away from the swearing because there might be kids or whatnot, and I like to have respect for people that don't swear as much as I can. Sometimes the F-bombs just, sorry, I apologize in advance. There was one guy, Matt V, 2099. He hasn't cut a video in a while. Oh man, God, a cat with the Taurus. Let me see. Let me see here. I'm trying to give a couple of shout outs to people on YouTube that I watch. Never Enough Ammo, Hickok 45, Kenwood 23, Millers and Guns, Gunblast.com, GY6, Hank Strange, Harley 45. I mentioned Iraq earlier. MD Prepper, Destiny I've mentioned, Such I've mentioned, Firearms Patriot, Fringe Sniper, Florida Gun Supply, FPS Russia. FPS Russia, he's a cool guy, okay? He do a lot of different stuff that you don't get to see every day. Check him out. Again, I choose, therefore I'm responsible. My God, I think this video's went on too long, but anyway, I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to print it and wrap it just the way it is for you and shove it out there one day. Peace out, have fun. I choose, I'm responsible.